select. If it is Windows, you select this one, otherwise Mac version. Visual Studio Code your setup exe file has been downloaded. I'm just installing. Just double click. Once you are on this screen, just click on accept agreement, next, and installation path. Create desktop code, install. It will not take much time. I just pause it. It's completed. You can see launch Visual Studio Code and it is ticked finish. It will launch the Visual Studio Code for us. Once you install the Visual Studio Code and if you open it, it will appear like this. So now we'll start the actual code. First, I will create a file. So I just save it. And inside that, I'm going to saving a HTML file as index.extension should be HTML. So every HTML file will ends with extension.html and I will save it as all files and I will select all. Now we created HTML file. As soon as you type it, this less than symbol or whatever, so you can see dark type. So dark type should be the initial declaration of the any HTML page. So what is dark type? So dark type declaration defines the HTML code version. In this, whenever we mention dark type HTML, then it means this code is written in HTML5, and this is very important. Every HTML page will have the root tag. So what is the root tag? HTML is the root tag. HTML. You can see as soon as you write HTML, it will automatically added slash front slash HTML tag. So which is closing tag. So every tag or every element in HTML will have the ending tag. So this is opening tag, this is ending tag. So all the HTML code will go inside this starting and closing HTML tag. Next important element is head tag. As I said, head tag also starting and ending tag will be there like this. So what is the purpose of head tag? In head tag, we will mention the title of the web page and we will define the metadata. Also we will refer the external CSS file. Also we can write the CSS code here. Also you can write the JavaScript code. You can refer the external JavaScript files also here. So as of now I just written the title and I will mention code well. And after head tag, another important tag is body tag. The way person will have the head and body. So HTML also like HTML, you consider HTML as a person and we have the head tag and body tag. So the body tag will write the all the code that represents the information that you want to show in the web page. So now here I am writing welcome to Codewell. Now I want to run this file. How to run? HTML file using Visual Code. Just we need to install the live server extension. Visual Code will come up with a lot of extensions and live server is one of them. So once you install the live server and if you just right click, you can see run with the live server. As of now, we don't see that. You can go to extensions. In the left side pane, we have a symbol called like this. It says extension. When you click on it, it will show all the popular extensions available here. So we need live server. Select it and click on install and it will take very less time. It is very quick. Now this is installed. I just close this and I just drag left side. Now I just right click here, open with live server, stop live server. So I just click on open with live server and it is saying open a folder or workspace. So for that, so we should open it with Visual Code again. So what I do, file, we have option called open a folder and Codewell. This you remember we created this and I just select the Codewell and select folder. Just relaunch the Visual Studio Code with Codewell folder. Now we are in index.html file. You just right click and click on open live server. You can see it is launched. This is how you can run the HTML page using Visual Code. If you want to stop it, you just click on stop live server. What is the use of live server? I just again click on open with live server. So another window is opened. So whenever you open, a new session will be started. See, If I click on again, it will open the new session every time. So now this is the latest session. The use of live server is like as soon as make any changes to HTML page or JavaScript page, they will be reflected in the browser. Here you no need to reload the browser. So this is one of the good advantage. So far we have seen how to create the HTML file and HTML head and body tag. Now we'll start the our actual implementation. Here I want to create a one section where we can enter the first name and last name of the customer and submit. Then once you submit, then we should see the customer details that we are entered. So that we will do using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Once we are done with the code changes, then we will deploy it on the website. Let's start. In body tag, as I said, so whatever the code that we want to show in the HTML page, that everything we should write in the body tag. You can see code well title we have written here. So where it is being shown, if you open the browser, you can see code well here. So this is the title. Now in the body tag, we have to write the our entire code. Now I just start the section. What is the section tag? Section tag is one of the very useful tag and that is introduced in HTML5. So section tags comes under semantic element. So what is semantic element? We have two kind of elements in HTML. One is semantic HTML and non-semantic HTML. Semantic HTML means it serves some purpose and it represents that what it is going to be. For example, we can head section, body section and footer section. So which to call, right? So and non-semantic means it doesn't have anything meaningful, but use it is just commonly to create the some part of the divisions or like that. Now in this we will write at a div. So what is div? So div stands for division. So if you want to create the divisions, we use the div. So you can see commonly used element in HTML is div. So now I have written section. So I will give some ID here. I say user input. So I have given the ID as user input. And inside that I have created the one division and here I will create a label and the label name is first name. Then I will write one input tag. Input tag you can see here. So use the input element to take the user input element. So we have type. So you can see input you can use it as button, checkbox, color, date time, color time picker, month, number, so many are password. Input elements represents the controller. So like text box controller or radio box controller, radio button controller, combo box controller. Now input type we need to mention text because we want text box and here value we don't want to give any value, so value will be empty. So now will close like this. In HTML, mostly tags or elements will ends with the closing and starting tag. But we have few elements which are self-closing elements, which means it will not be closed like input element will not be closed like not like this. So input element is self-closing tag, which means it will end like this. So far so good. Now we just go and see our output here. You can see first name and next text box there. Now I want last name. So what to do? I just you can just copy paste here, same code and do here. So instead of first name, I just mention last name. Now you can see first name, last name. So they is displayed in separated lines. They are not displayed in the same line. So because div is block level element. So what is block level element? So this div is block level element. It doesn't allow any element to sit next to its left side or right side. So that's why you can see these two are coming in separate lines. These two divs. So div is block level element. So we have two kind of elements like block level elements and inline elements. For example, let's say label and input, but these two come in the same line instead of separate lines. So these are inline elements. So label and input, but div is block level element. That's why the first div shown in one line and second div shown in another line. So we have some other black level elements also. Those are paragraph is again black level. Same way section also black level element. We have user input here section. So I am going to create another section which will show the user output. So whatever the user has entered. So for that I just create one more section, and here I will write ID user out. Here I just type something user details and go and see. You can see here again user details comes in separate line, so which means each section is block level elements. I just adjusted the browser and visual code so that we can see the results. So now first name last name, so we should have a button to submit the details. Let's create one more div. Here we can use the button, or you can use the input type also. I'm just using button, and you can use the name submit. The button is also one of the element. You can see immediately button came. So button is also like starting and ending tag, it will be there. So now what I want here, I want to enter something Siva, and name, first name Siva and last name Bogala. Now as soon as I click on submit, so it should show the details here, and it should hide it and show the user details here. As soon as you enter first name and last name and click on the submit, I want to show the user details here. So that part, that's submit part, we have to do using the JavaScript. If you see this, we have first name, last name, submit, and its user details, but it's not looking so nice. We need to apply some styles like color or some gaps. If we give some gaps, then it looks nice. We can do that using CSS. CSS stands for cascading style sheet. So how to apply the CSS? Normally we can apply using the style tag. For example, I write style and I give padding. I think you might know padding. If you don't know padding, I will explain now. So padding, so let's say I give 10 pixel, and then if you I will want to give some border for this section. Border 1 pixel border, and type is solid, and I want to give gray. And as soon as you save it, you can see what is padding. This is section. So what is padding? So padding means it will move the entire section inside this section tag by 10 pixels. So what is padding? So padding means it will move the entire the code, so entire the section like first name, last name or submit section by the 10 pixel from top to bottom and left to right. So you can see before padding, for example, let's say I just remove the padding and save it. The first name and last name moved here, and this border is the section. So section is nothing but wherever you have border, this one. So now when as soon as I do Control Z and I save it, you can see the border will not move. Only first name and last name and submit. This will move from top left, and you can't see the right and bottom, but you can see top, left, bottom, right also it will move 10 pixel. You can see from submit it will move 10 pixel, and from this borderline it will move top to down 10 pixel, and left from left side border it will move 10 pixel to the right side. You can see as soon as save it, you can see this it's moved from bottom left, and also from the bottom. It moved from the top left and bottom, also from the right actually. Normally padding property we can write like padding, we can write padding left, padding left 10 pixel, then padding right, padding bottom, padding top, like that. But when you mention the padding, just padding and colon 10 pixel, means it will take from all the sides. So like whenever you say padding 10 pixel, means it is like padding top 10 pixel, padding right 10 pixel, padding bottom 10 pixel, and padding left 10 pixel. That you can see by opening the F12 tag. Open the F12 tag and select the this symbol and go here. You can see padding 10 pixel style applied, and as soon as you open it, so padding 10 pixel represents padding top 10 pixel, padding right 10 pixel, padding bottom 10 pixel, padding left 10 pixel. So this is shortcut. So shorthand method for these four properties. Single shorthand property is padding. We applied now padding 10 pixel and border 1 pixel, solid gray, everything we applied. Now what I do, we are applying here. For example, let's say I want same thing for section 2 also. What we have to do, we have to write two times here. So one more time, this is like duplication of the code. So how to avoid this one? So we can avoid this duplication of code, and also whenever you just refresh the page or whenever you make some changes, what will happen, every time this HTML page will load and every time this style will load. So this will make web page to render slowly. So when you have the lot of code and when you have the no lot of CSS code written like this, it's called inline style sheet. We should avoid writing inline style sheet. Instead of that, we have to write the CSS classes and apply here, and that CSS code you should keep in the external file. So that's way you can avoid the duplication of code, and also the loading time also will be faster, because you will refer the CSS file that will be downloaded for the first time, and from second time onwards it will not download the CSS file, it will read from the cache. We will write the CSS code here. For that we need to use the style element, style, and starting and closing tag, and in between we need to write the CSS class. So CSS class start with dot and name. So I just write user input, or you can write anything. So user input. So this is CSS class. So user input is the class name, and after that is followed by the curly braces. So this is how we'll define the CSS class. Inside that you have to write the CSS code. So I just copy this one. I just paste here. Now you can see this is the one. So now I just remove from here style, and even I will remove from here. I just mention instead of user input, I just mention user section. Okay, now this is CSS class. So we need to use this CSS class for these two sections, and so that we can avoid writing the duplication of code. How to apply that? We can write, we have a attribute called class. So ID, class, all these are called as attributes. I will make it user section. We want to apply the class to this one, this section and this section. How to apply? You can just copy user section and paste here, just user section. Now here you need to mention the dot here. Only while the time of declaration of the class only you mention the dot. Otherwise you just mention like user section like this and save it. Now you can see it is applied here, and same thing here also we can apply. So class user section, save it. This is how you can avoid writing the same code more than one time. I can see there is no gap between these two. I want some gap. So how to do that? For the div and this div. So for this div, I want to write one class called like control, control. So control, in that I want to write a pixel 10 pixel, let's say. I will apply to this class control, and now we have enough space. Okay, same way I will apply for the button also. We can make these text boxes look even better. How to do that? Say I just write text box class. I just write padding kind of 5 pixel and 4 pixel. I just apply here text box only, class text box 5 pixel. Earlier, so the cursor was starting from this border. Now it is starting from the 4 pixel after the border. So this is what padding. Now we can type something and it looks better compared to, and you can see the radius also. So borders are curved borders. And if you want some gap between these two also, we can apply maybe 4 pixel. So there is a gap now between these two also. So I just want to style the button btn. I can just write btn. The background color this one, and border color, border radius 3 pixel, and I use display inline block. So take the mouse over the submit button, we can see the default cursor type, but I want to show the like some pointer symbol so that user feels it clickable. So that for that we have property called cursor, and value is pointer. You can see now pointer, so it's look like something clickable. I think text box border looks bit odd. We just change it. Now it looks somewhat good. So with this we will stop CSS thing. Now we should start JavaScript. So when you click on the submit, we want to show the user details in the user bottom of the page. So now when you click on the submit, I want to hide this section and I want to show the user details. Like we written the styles, we can start the script tag, and you can write the JavaScript code here. So it is good practice to write the JavaScript so before the closing tag of body tag. Now it's time for writing JavaScript code which reads the first name, last name when you click on the submit button, and displays the whatever the first name, last name that we entered here. So here I will create a var. First we need to read the first name. How to read the first name? So in order to read the first name, you should assign some ID to this text box so that we can read the value of the text box by ID. Same way for the last name also. So I just give the one ID here. ID text f f name, and same way for another text box I give ID. I give txt last. We have assigned the IDs to the two text boxes, text txt f name, txt last name. So when you open the F12 developer window, and you can see, go to the elements, HTML, you can see section. So this is the section. If we mouse over, see, you can see it is showing entire thing, section, user input, user selection, so everything, and then another section. So now when you open this section, this is div, first div, this is the second div, this is third div. So this is how you can see your HTML, whatever the code you have written, the HTML code in developer windows. So when you open this one, and you can see label one, input, you can ID is assigned, ID txt f name. Same way, label input id txt lname. So now we need to, whenever user enter any value in that, using the id of the text box, we need to read the value of the text box. So how to do that? So I'm declaring one variable called var with var fname equal to. So how to read this text box? So for that we use, sorry. So we have a document dot. So document is nothing but the window object. Document dot get element by id. You can see document is the window object, like document represents the browser window. So if you want more details about document, you can watch my JavaScript tutorials. There I explained in detail. So document, and it is having one method called get element by id. So you can see it is very easy, get, and it follows the camel case, get, and after that element e start with capital letters, and by by b start with capital letters, and id I start with capital letters by id. And what is the id name we have given? Txt f. So this is f name. Same way where l name equal to, you can just copy paste it, document.get element by id and txt l name. Now we are accessing both f name and l name text boxes. So how to read the value of them? So we need to read the value of them when user click on the submit button. So when you user click on submit button, you should call some function to read the values and display the value. So we need to write one function here. If you are new to the functions, please watch my JavaScript functions tutorial. So function start with like this function, and function name, let's say and like this. And here I want to read the value, right? F name and L name. How to read it? Here we need to var fst name equal to f name, and this is here when you say f name means it is input controller, this text box one, and controller dot value, and same way var, so last name l name dot value alert list name. We have written the function, but we should call it when you click on the button. How to call it? We have an event called on click. So on click is the event, and inside that we should call the get user data function, get user data, and with open and close brackets. You can use the semicolon. Let's open this and refresh, and we don't require now this, and I enter Siva and last Cherukula. When you click on button, you can see Siva and Cherukula. So it is displaying Siva and Cherukula. I just refresh. Now you can see you don't have any value. And what if you click on the submit? You can see nothing. So undefined. So it will not have any value. So our purpose is we want to show the details here. I just remove this, and here I will add two paragraphs. One P. P stands for paragraph, and this is also black level element like div. And another para I will, here I want to show welcome, welcome, and here I want to show the username. So what is the whatever the first name plus last name I want to show here. So how to show it? For this, I just give some ID P. When you click on the submit button, here I want to show username, welcome username. So how to show that? We need to read the paragraph here the way we have read the test controller. So this one we need to do whenever we click on the submit button. Right here we read the paragraph var username equal to duck. Whenever user click on the submit, here I want to assign the user full name to the paragraph p username. Dot for text box we have value. The same way for paragraph, if you want to assign some value, you need to use the property called inner html equal to, here we have first name plus, so plus will be used to concatenate the two strings, or two strings or two numbers or whatever, and l- last name welcome Siva circular. You can see welcome. So whenever you say in some name, you can see the value automatically comes here. Here you can see this user input section and user output section both are appearing same time. But I don't want to show this both at a time. So whenever user enters some details and click on the submit, then we need to hide this section and show the user details section. Let's go and make the code changes for that. We have section id user output and we have section id user input. So as soon as user click on the submit button, I want to hide this. How to do that? So we need to read this section user output. So same way like this, just copy paste it and rename it as output. And what is the id? We have user output, give here, and same way give user input also. So copy this id and give here, maybe anything, okay, ipt. Now we have user input and user output. Whenever you click on the get user data, I just want to hide the user input and show the use section user output. So for that we need to hide it user output by default. How to do that? User output, copy this and write some css here. So we are taken the id. If you want to write the css for id selector, you need to use the symbol called hash. And so we have various ways of selecting css, like if you want to write for class dot class, and if you want to write id based styling, then you have to use as and that id of the element. So user output here use, and here how to hide it using display property, display none. If you make display none, it won't be showing this entire section. And if you go and see here now, you see only this one and you don't see this entire section. And also I want to give some width to this user section. So I give width 300, sorry, 300 pixel. So I give width 300 pixel because this is enough. So 300 pixel now. now Now if you load it, by default you can see only this user input section, and user output section you are not able to see. Now what I want to do, as soon as you click on submit button, I want to hide the user input section and show the user output section. How to do that? We can do by display property itself. User input dot style dot display equal to, you can give in string none, and sec user output dot style dot display equal to block. So block means it will display it, and since section is block level element, so black is exact value that we need to provide. Now it is already reloaded, and click on submit. You can see welcome Krishna Pogal. So this is how we can hide and show the sections using the display property. So this is also very useful property. Now if you want, when you come to this user details, you can see if you don't enter anything and if you submit, you can see empty. So instead of that, I want to add some validation. Whenever we have the value for f name last name, then only show this section, otherwise don't show. So for that you can add if condition name not equal to empty, and last name not equal to empty, then only assign the value to the paragraph and hide or display the other sections. Now, if I try to submit without entering anything, it will not move because we had a condition that if first name and last name both are empty, then don't do anything. Also, we also Sivakasi coming in the next line. So it is good if you see everything in the single line. I just remove this paragraph, we don't require it. I'll add one horizontal line. Here itself we can mention welcome. Welcome Sivakasi. Observe, we have written JavaScript, CSS, all every code inside the HTML only. So, but in real time, it is not good practice. Write the CSS, JavaScript, or every code inside the HTML page. Instead of that, we should have JavaScript code in JavaScript file and the CSS code in CSS file separately. We should refer them in HTML. So we'll do that quickly. So I just cut the CSS entire CSS code and now the HTML, now the style tag also not required. So I'll cut entire CSS and I will create one new file and I'll just copy here and save it as app.css. Same way, I will just cut the JavaScript code and I remove the script tag. I'll create a new file and paste here and save it as app.js. Now we need to refer the CSS file inside the head tag. How to refer? We have a element called link and so href here you will mention the file name app.css and rel means you will mention what is the type style sheet and you can close that. Link also self closing tag. Save it and go and see. You can see still it is working means CSS is applied. If you just remove this and save, if you see CSS are not applied. So when you do like this, CSS applied. The same way, now if you do something, you will not see anything. Even though if apply Siva, Kasi and click on submit, you don't see anything because we have not referred the JavaScript file. So how to refer the JavaScript file? We can refer the JavaScript file using script tag, script and src, and here you have to refer app.js and ending tag. Now if we go type welcome. So one last thing I want to do before we deploy this code online as a website, I just want to do one quick change. Like I want to add one more button in the user detail section, and here I want to write a function go home, and I mention the name as home. So for this go home, what I do when you click on the button go home, I want to hide this section and I want to display this section. So how to do that? Just we need to write one more function. Simple function. Quickly you write go home, and here whatever we are doing we'll do in reverse. Like user input the style display, we will make it block means we will show the user input section and user output section we will hide it. Simple. Now if I come here Siva and if I take Kasi and click on submit, you can see welcome Siva Kasi. You click on home, you can come to home. So this looks nice. Instead of refreshing the page, you just click on the home button, you can come to the front page and just add one, maybe do whatever. I just removed the border and I just added one line here. Let's deploy our code as a website. How to do that? We have a website called netleafy.com. So where you can host your website freely. So what we need to do is we need to sign up. If you are the first time user, you need to sign up using your email address, like the email address and password, and you can just click on the sign up. If you are already having the account, you can just click on the login and you can just log in and do the hosting. Since I am already signed up here, I will log in and show you how to do that. Here I have logged in. So now I will show you how to deploy it. So if you want to deploy it, if you want to deploy, just you will see here. Once you logged in, the page will be looking like this and your username, everything shown here. And here what you need to do, we need to scroll down. You can see want to deploy a new site without connecting to Git. Drag and drop your site folder here. You can go to your folder where you have the your code files and just drag and drop here. Then it will automatically host it. So just we'll go to the folder where we have the our code. You can go to Visual Code and right click. You can see reveal in file explorer. Then it will open the file explorer. So the folder name is codewell. What I do, I just copy, drag and drop the folder here. It's updated and you can see it's showing the link now here. So when you click on the link here, it will show you our site. So whatever we have run through the Visual Code, same thing has deployed now in the netfly.app and you can see here. So now we enter something similar and click on submit. You can see user details. Welcome to Siva. So this is how we can deploy our code using netlify.com and you are seeing adoring something. So you can change its name also. You can change it. You can go to site settings and change site name. So instead of this, you can change codewell user demo. Save. Now close it and now click on it. You can see codewell user demo.net leafy.app. So if you want this website, if you don't want the netlify.app, you can pay this netlify website and then this netlify.app will be removed and you can get your own domain name. So this is how we can create our simple website using HTML, CSS and JavaScript and we can deploy that using the netlife.app. There are so many providers which offer this service like hosting our samples or simple websites. So with this we will conclude this and if you have any doubts please ask me in comment section. Thank you for watching. Share it with your friends and also please subscribe. Thank you. Have a nice day. Stay home. Stay safe. See you in next video.